let's get started. So tonight we have like a really, really stacked panel. Can we start with Anling for like one-liner intros, go all the way down to Dawson?
Hi, my name is Anling. I'm the head of marketing from Pen AI.
Hi everyone, I'm Shubham, head of ecosystem at Manta network.
Hi, this is Asa. I'm Apac lead at IO.net.
Hey guys, I'm Vish. I lead AI at Berachain.
Hey everyone, it's Patrick Colangelo here, co-founder and CEO of Nesa.
Awesome. So I think we can get started with like our first question, and basically I've kept the questions a little bit spicier than yesterday. So hopefully you guys will be able to answer them. I might sound as if I'm attacking AIX crypto, but I'm not. Trust me, I love them. But starting off, now OpenAI, they recently reported that once they had launched their image generation feature via 4.0, they added like 1 million users in an hour, right? And to contrast that, when they were starting out, it took them like a pretty long while in order to ever hit that mark. Now, does this idea of a product going quote-unquote viral nudge you towards developing a retail-first application in Web3? And the reason I'm asking this is because whenever people hear crypto XAI, they think, okay, this is for devs, or this is for devs to integrate into their protocol. Do you think the correct answer may have been build something for end consumer all along? So, Anling, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think I'm a firm believer that like personal AI gonna be the next trend. So Mark Zuckerberg was saying that like in 2025, personal AI intelligence is gonna be bringing 1 billion users. I think that's possible, but like Web2 can't like achieve that. I think Web3 is the way to go because, like when we start using like ChatGPT or DeepSeek every day, like every time I do it, I have to like do it like very manually and repetitively, like, putting all my infos, right? But like with crypto, with like Web3 personal AI, because the incentives, user gave their personal data, right? So with that personal data, we can have a more personalized AI. And I think that is like one way of drive like mass adoptions into, crypto, or the next like 1 billion or 1 million user, moment.
I can go next. So I like to talk with an example. So GHIBLI was not the first one, I think so. If you know, like when we were young, like personally I was young, so Pixar was very famous, So there were a lot of like images which were generated, but that time social media was not that famous, so we could not tweet about it or we could not share on Instagram. So definitely it brought a lot of new users to OpenAI and ChatGPT. But now coming to your main question, like it's all about infrastructure, it's all about technology and stuff when it comes about AI in crypto. So now you tell me first thing, like say suppose if I tell you how Web2 AI, like ChatGPT and Web3 chat model will be different. The first answer will be that it can be open source, it can be transparent. We are talking about infrastructure again. So that's one thing like I personally believe whenever we talk about crypto or Web3 AI. So it's very important that we take care of infrastructure. Now coming to end user, which is really important. We have been building technology from a lot of time. Even I'm from a layer 2, so I know it's quite fragmented right now. So I think like right now we have already started all these things. So the last Kaito dashboards were quite famous, right? People were sharing it long. After that, recently I saw some GitHub link where you can type your Twitter and you can find like random where is your best friend based out of. So that are cool things which are for Web3 and Web2 users. But if we combine it with the technology like transparency, cryptography for fingerprint scanning, if the model is not copied, so that is the time we can use it in Web3. But initially, I think so this is a good way to start on Web2 where there is no Web3 component, and later on we can just bring it so that we don't harm the UX. That's it.
Yeah, I think the biggest promise of AI is to build the sovereign individual where you don't need a lot of technical background. You can be a one-person company, one-person developer, and one-person product. And so that's why I feel it's really important for AI companies and crypto AI companies to go as close to the consumer as possible. So last year when we first launched our mainnet, our product is very 2B, right? It's renting GPU. You have to be a hardware or cloud engineer in order to use our products. It's super hard, and we have a lot of enthusiastic community members who like the idea but don't have the technical background to meaningfully engage with our products. That's why this year we launched 2 new products where you can literally just use DeepSeek from the web page and also use an image and text generator and video generator from our web page. That's really enabled a lot of retail, university students, smaller teams who don't have a lot of technicians to be start using the power of AI and build AI-powered applications, try to write code for them. I think that's a very important unlock, and that's where the decentralization, we are bringing down the cost a lot. So now if you use DeepSeek to generate 1 million words with our platform, the cost is only $1, so even cheaper than DeepSeek itself, the DeepSeek server itself. So that's where I think we are able to open up access to a lot of people and have more people start building or trying out building.
The interesting part of this question is actually what a consumer is at the end of the day. Because each product or each project you have, your end consumer is totally different. Like, for example, for a DeFi user, you primarily are using AI to find the best yields or to optimize your strategy at the end of the day. But for a person who's more in, let's say, for example, art, the consumer side of it is a little more different from an AI context perspective. So I think like companies primarily trying to build and provide more context and coherence towards the end consumer to make their life as easy as possible. I think that is where the key of AI is, that it can actually help everyone, but AI needs to have context with respect to who their consumer is, and it needs to provide coherence with respect to the output it's primarily giving. From that angle, I believe that like going viral is just a natural extension of like touching your consumer, right? Because it's the ultimate form of social validation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't actually think that we should force it and try to build consumer-facing applications for the sake of it, having seen this major success. Obviously, everyone up here is very focused on infrastructure. We're all infrastructure players. And I think the reason why we have focused on infrastructure is, when you look at Web3, I think it starts from the perspective of how much do you believe in the future of this industry, and how can we best facilitate great builders and new builders to come into this burgeoning industry. And you need great infra at the beginning of that. I think part of the issues of not seeing amazing web apps and mobile apps and consumer apps today in Web3 is actually an infrastructure problem. It's not a lack of creativity. And that's not to say that we're not doing our jobs up here, because everyone here is amazing. But it's very early innings in crypto AI. Essentially, it's been about 1.5 years or so since it's really come onto the scene. So I'm very confident and bullish about the future of crypto AI. I believe that we should continue to invest in things that give us edges, such as privacy and transparency, quick, fast, cheap inference, training infrastructure, agentic frameworks that can better facilitate the innovation that we want to see on the consumer-facing side.
Very interesting answers, and of course, like Patrick's thing is pretty different from what I was expecting as well. But I do want to also ask the question, because see, all of you come from like different backgrounds, right? Like Anling, you work for like PinAI, Shubham, you come from Manta, so some of you are on an app level, some of you are on a chain level. So you guys definitely have seen like a lot of different dApps, and you guys have perhaps studied a lot of different viral ones as well. I do want to ask, like, can you give us like an example of, in your head, what should an AI X crypto app be able to do for it to like have like a breakout moment? So I think I can perhaps best explain this as like an example. When the Trump meme coin launched, basically it was Moonshot's moment to shine at that point of time, right? To the point that they basically even published and talked about this, we were able to process this much volume. But I think that maybe a reason that it's taking us so long to get where we want to go, because we don't have that idea very clear in our head. So is there any like future benchmark that you have that yes, once we're able to do X, Y, and Z, maybe it's not possible today, that we would actually go viral?
Go first. Yeah, I do agree what Patrick was saying about the consumer facing part, right? And I mean, like, Pain AI is actually already building the future of like the apps, that like every consumer is able to use. So what we are building is, so we are actually building the infrastructure for the personal AI, but like on the user side, it just feels like a D app, right? The future I envision is that my mom, she opened her phone and like use Pain AI, to suggest, okay, what should I wear today? What my personal health coach tell me to eat today, right? It wouldn't feel like a crypto or blockchain project at all. And how do we achieve that? Like first is on the infrastructure side, right? We connect all users' private data, your Web 2 data, and your Web 3 data, right? With all that personal information, then AI builders can build like personalized AI agent on top of that. Right, we provide the infrastructure, the intent matching, and also the economic layers. And then apart from that is like what user concerned the most is the privacy, right? So with that, we're solving it with both TE and also your data actually never leaves your device. It's gonna be on device. So that's how we gonna bring. What is the question?
The question was basically, what features do you imagine the dApp to have in order for it to go
Yeah,
viral?
yeah. So basically, personal AI and Pin AI. Yeah.
Don't say Manta.
No.
Don't say Manta.
No. Wait. I'll not shell Manta on this side. So, again, let's take an example. So, let's assume 3 technologies. I don't want anyone to build something, but just aggregate something. So, first, intent. Second, chain abstraction. Third, account abstraction. You have an app where, for example, you just write a thing where I need to buy a Bitcoin, and you just don't have to create a wallet. You don't have to worry which chain it is. You don't have to think about it, like where it is coming from, how much you need to invest and stuff. And all this AI agent, which will be trained on blockchain, can do all the stuff. So now coming, whenever we ask a question, how the mass adoption will come. So everyone talks that we need our parents that who can just do all these things without thinking about how to create a wallet and stuff. So this solution can easily create it. So we have all the chain abstraction tool, we have all the account abstraction. My mother goes on a prompt, she types, I want Bitcoin, and that is executed. That's so simple. And I've seen a lot of people, personally me as well, I have stopped using Google after Gemini, ChatGPT, and I think in crypto it can be done as well. So it's very simple. If someone wants to build it, it's just an aggregation of tools together, and you need to train it on blockchain. That's it. So yeah, I think so. That's a short answer.
Awesome. Asa, is that the same thing with you?
Yeah, I wouldn't share with this answer. There's a favorite idea I learned from Silicon Valley, that is, don't start with a solution and try to find a problem. Start with a problem and try to find a solution. Right? I guess that's a problem with a lot of Web3 projects where we start with decentralization and we try to rationalize, okay, what exactly are we going to do with decentralization without giving account to what the customer actually needs. I feel this is a $1 million question. How exactly does decentralization and AI marry? I still believe they will eventually marry somehow, but today at this stage, what we need is leanliness, is fast iteration. So at this stage, it's really a stage where decentralization doesn't match as much as efficiency or as fast response. So that's why I think we should start with the first principles of what AI needs and not what crypto needs. And a quick suggestion on how to figure that out, I personally tried, is to literally just go to SFO and try to drive from the airport to San Francisco downtown, and there will be 100 billboards trying to tell you what Silicon Valley is building at the moment. I think that's a good starting point to letting us know what are people in AI building at the moment. I don't have the answer, but I just want to share some thoughts.
I believe that like any AI which can primarily reduce effort from the user perspective and also like time, where you can automate a lot of these tasks and the AI is primarily context aware. I think that's the next big thing out there as an application. Just providing a little more context to that is that like, let's say I primarily have a goal in mind with respect to yields on a chain. I just give that as an input and it can primarily execute based on the risk parameter side of it. Or let's say that I primarily need my bills managed and the AI does this for me in the backend using crypto rails, making its payments through the cards or like wallets at the end of the day. At the end of the day, when you are able to reduce time for someone or you are able to make someone's life easier is when value is created. Any application out there which can make any particular set of users in crypto's life easier is when I think like the next big application will come in. Initially, I feel that it's going to be finance, but I think it's going to start percolating towards like gaming to a certain extent as well. Because one thing that we see is AI agents as NPCs, but a couple of strategy games out there which can be on-chain and real world. In the sense that like it will have like a real world depiction of like resources, how the economics primarily works. Primarily having like agents like that where you can earn proper rewards or yields or manage resources within a game. I think that's also the next big thing out there, which will actually like start showing the potential of like AI not just as like character building, but also as assistants to like gamers at the end of the day.
I think that's a really great point. By the way, I've made that drive so many times in SF. So I think the key to unlocking this question, this billion-dollar question as you put it, is really to focus on value and to look for ideas and really just implementations of ideas that are value-oriented. It starts with creativity, of course. It also starts with some courage and some luck and, mustering up some capital and a team. But once you have the right ingredients, I think the only applications that will really click are the ones that truly have a competitive advantage. And it's not just kind of doing what we've all observed in Web3, doing something in Web 2 and then putting a token on it, or doing something that's in Web 2 and then trying to incentivize people by giving away token or airdrop. I think this is much of like what we've come to be a part of and participate in and probably make money off of, but also hate as part of our industry. And it becomes vapid, unfortunately. So I think the next generation, this AI generation for Web3 is very exciting because it gives people a new opportunity to be creative for the very first time. Generative AI and various different flavors of AI offer this opportunity to mint a whole new, completely different world of creators. And so I'll give you a very quick anecdote before I end. At Nesa, we're focused on building this very rich ecosystem of applications, protocols, projects building on top of us. We specifically focus on AI inference. So we make it private, fast, affordable, and very easy to connect by smart contract to AI. And there's one project, just quickly to mention, called Everlyn. They just came up. It's by a group of PhDs, ex-Facebook AI team, and they have a great vision. What they're focused on is taking what you see in Web 2 for video AI and making it better in Web 3, but making it faster. So they have a unique technology. They've brought that to the forefront. It's the fastest video AI technology in the world. We're actually working with IONET, so it's a great partnership. Speaks volumes about how you help the industry. But they're very, very intriguing company because they have managed to bring something to market that I've not seen yet in Web 3, which is something that can compete against the giants in Web 2. I'm very excited to see this premise take form more because AI is going to disrupt a lot of things, and that's what's given them the privilege to do that. So, yeah.
Got it. And I really appreciate the small synergy moment between the two of you, to be very honest. And I think since you mentioned like image, and I do have to add, like, I think the next question just makes more sense, which is like whenever you think of like any product, you really think about retention, and a great part of retention or any of this viral mechanic is shareability. So, and you've seen this actually work with some other crypto protocols as well. Like whenever you're flexing your hyperliquid PNL, what you're doing is you're basically saying, look, you got to share it on your social media. How can we bake shareability into like a consumer-facing application in AIX crypto? Because right now, I think image generation is one that we can definitely think of, which I think Patrick has already mentioned. Does anything else also come to your mind? Do you guys think we've hit like a creative limit in terms of what kind of content are we sharing, or is it even content that we should be sharing?
I think so. Until and unless you can flex anything, it's a shareable thing. So it's not just about AI. Like Instagram is made to share and flex, right? So if I'm over here, I'll just share a panel picture that I'm on a panel. So that's a shareable thing. So it doesn't come on a specific AI part. It comes on normal thing, which can be either like pretty cool to share. Like you can flex that. Like it can be your portfolio. It can be your particular trip pictures. It can be either some funny stuff which you want to show. It can be related to like X amount of thing, like where you crack a joke, where you do some shit posting. And third thing which comes to mind is about normal things which you do day to day life. So that can also be shareable. So it can be either incentivized, it can be either done on some other level where you integrate AI. So to be honest, like I don't think like shareable thing just relates to AI. It is anything which you can share and you think that people will like it or people will view at it. So I think so like coming to retention part, it's very important. Like even after GHIBLI Art, I'm not sure like if people are still using ChatGPT or Gemini, because the chat window of Gemini is quite big than ChatGPT. So people are still using that other tool. So I think it's more about like coming with a new feature so that people just come back to you. Again, let's take an example of Kaito because I really like them. So first, dashboard. Second, yapping thing. Third, point system. Fourth, launcher token. Fifth, CT leaderboard. Sixth, pre-TG and post-TG. And seventh, right now they have started already with this voting system. So this is a good strategy to ask people to come back to you. I think so. This is a good strategy which can be followed by a non-AI and AI tools as well.
Got it. So it's like incremental development in some sense.
You don't give everything at once.
Yeah.
That's the best thing.
When I think about shareability, I think from like 3 layers. One is content, the other one is inter-human collaboration, and finally is inter-agent collaboration. So content is very simple, right? You generate a nice piece of content and you want to share it. But the second layer, which I think what we are working on now, is inter-human collaboration. For example, I think Grok is doing a very good job on this, because now with the integration on Twitter, if somebody else just use Grok to draw a picture or to do an analysis, if you are also a Twitter premium, you can just click on the button and then Grok will redo that calculation for you, and you can apply whatever your creativity or your ideas onto that model or onto that output to create something that's yours. That's something I think is really fun. And also, we are building something similar that's called Bring Your Own Model. So if you have a model that's like of a particular artistic style or particular writing style, and you want to open source that model for other people to build on you can do that with the IO Intelligence platform. That's what we believe really built in composability into the agent stack so that people can build on each other's agent. That is another layer of shareability, I believe. And finally, something that we are all talking about, but we are yet to see a mature product on, is agent-to-agent collaboration, right? So how can agents interact with other people's agents or other autonomous agents so maybe at that point, we will have to rethink what is shareability. Is it still sharing to humans or is it sharing to agents? And what purpose, what kind of KPIs are we thinking about when we think about shareability or virality? But that would be another world, maybe 3, 5, 10 years.
Yeah, but shareability, the underlying requirement is that it's open. It's also like composable. It's also that like people are able to like understand the context of it as well. Um, the way like we've primarily evolved, like even as like any kind of an application out there which allowed shareability have always gone viral. For example, like the game streaming platform, um, I'm just like the name is eluding me, but that primarily went viral because gamers could actually have an in-person view and they could share that with like a live stream and more people could come and engage on that stream, right? So when that interactions happen, you are creating more um, retention towards a particular like application or use case, for example. The second thing is that like shareability is from the very underlying thing human as well, right? In the sense that when Richard Dawkins coined the term meme, he primarily meant cultural virality as well, where me and you can primarily relate to a common context. The same extends towards like what he was rightly pointing out was agent to agent communication as well. I feel that like we have multiple frameworks which are coming in. We primarily are going to need adapters for shareability and co-working of two frameworks or like models to like work together as well. Like for example, we have Mira network which does that with LLM synthesis, but we need more from the perspective of collaborative work. Also, one last thing I'd love to add here is that like whenever you're looking at collaboration, it also needs to be like very properly tracked as well, because at the end of the day when value is actually created, what is attested to who is also a requirement at the end of the day for the creator side.
Yeah, I think one interesting point to add to all this, because I think we covered it, covered a lot of sharing here, is there's two types of sharing when it comes to Web3. I think there's intra-chain sharing and there's cross-chain sharing. And there's one project quite interesting that's building on Nesa right now. It's called AI Link, and all it exists to do is be a managed relayer service to pipe or to link AI to different blockchains outside of Nesa. So Nesa, of course, is an L1 for AI. So we have our own blockchain. We settle on-chain ourselves, but that isn't so conducive for this idea of sharing and this idea for propping up all blockchains in Web3. So it's a very interesting service, very lightweight service, almost like ZK Link, but basically folks outside of the Nesa domain can now access over 100,000 AI models that Nesa offers instantaneously, and the projects building on Manta or building on Berachain don't have to change any smart contract code to do so. And the result is that Nesa is just facilitating this AI service now for these great blockchain networks and ecosystems, and the projects building on Berachain and building on Manta get to settle on those chains. So very exciting kind of new paradigm for sharing and AI, and excited to see how it goes.
I
go
just
ahead.
have a question. That's an interesting point. So, like, say, suppose we are a EVM compatible chain. We write codes on Solidity, and there is some other chain which writes codes on Move language. So, is it still composable together?
Exactly. Yeah, we're doing custom built SDKs for each chain. EVM makes it easy because we get a large swath of coverage. But after let's say 5 or 10 chomps at the bit, you essentially get most of what you'd want reach-wise in Web3. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add here is that like I think for shareability to occur between, like it's not only between agents, blockchains as well, it's also between Web 2 and Web 3 as well, right? So a lot of the things with respect to MCP is primarily required for shareability to occur. Otherwise, then any new service primarily coming in and the API underlying changing is primarily giving you a different output, right? So I think MPC as a technology is key to make shareability between blockchains and the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 to occur as well.
Good point. Yeah.
I think since we're heading towards the end, I just have one question left, and I want everyone to give like a 1 to 2 line answer max, because if I let you guys say for more, I know you're AIX crypto folks, you can wiggle your way through, so I'll not allow you to do that. But my main question was that despite seeing no-code platforms, Lovable, Replit, they do it so well, we're not seeing the development of such platforms in AIX crypto. Should an outside observer consider this a breach of AIX Crypto's promise about democratizing AI? What's stopping these tools from being built and widely adopted within crypto? Because these are all AI tools, popular in Web 2, don't have them in Web 3. So is there no angle to it, or what's going on here?
The only problem with Web3 is complexity. If we solve that, it's very easy to build all these things. And we have already tried. So building social media on chain, building payment system on chain. We have done all these things, but it's too complex for a Web2 user. That's the only problem. And it's not just about the AI, it's about everything. And more specifically AI. So I think so instead of competing, it's about more adapting. So if ChatGPT already created a model which is centralized, let's plug in blockchain for decentralization. That should be the goal for us, not to compete with them, because they have a ton of money. So we can't even just compete with them. So that is the reason I think so. It's more about you try to compose with them, try to bring more features to them so that it can be a better future for Web3 as well.
Yeah, I think for the no-code platform or the low-code platform, I feel Nesa is going a long way towards that, but I'll leave that to Patrick to explain. Yeah, but that's certainly a North Star where a lot of our projects are chasing for, because tying back to the first question, that it's all about making it easier for more people to use. It's not just AI, it's like any technology. So as a final word of call to action, we are also, like our IO intelligence platform is also making it so much easier for any developers to operate AI into their products. You don't have to manipulate GPUs and stuff. That's our step towards the right direction, and I do encourage, if you are building AI applications, to try out the platform. Its price is competitive, the power is great, and we have all the latest open source models there.
To be honest with you, I feel that it's more a question of timing, to be honest, than anything. The reason is that both the companies you mentioned have been existing long enough to primarily have context over the market and primarily build on a solid foundation. The problem I see in Web3 right now is that things are moving too rapidly, right? Like I need to set a foundation on top of which I can primarily build out. First we were at POW, then we are at POS, then POS into DPoS, then we're moving into multiple different languages. There is more segregation happening than it coming together. So for a company like Replit or come into Web3, would it either the real question actually is, would it be chain specific or language specific to help out? Or would it be an all-encompassing entity which would primarily solve problems for a lot of the end user at the end of the day? And to be honest with you, I feel that that question is yet to be answered.
Just to be terse, because I know I have to. So first and foremost, I'm not sure if the standard or the benchmark is Replit or these no-code platforms for us being successful in Web3. I think it's one aspect of things, but I don't think it's the holy grail. I do feel like we should leave off on a positive note because the projects on stage have done a hell of a job pushing us forward in Web3, but also I think it's very important to note all of the challenges that we face on a daily basis when building a successful Web3 company, building a large community and a large user base. We have to abstract out in a way so much complexity around wallets, around cross-chain interaction, around bridging assets, around explaining to users who aren't experienced with crypto how to hold, possess, custody of crypto, reward mechanisms around that, and then just like you just mentioned, Vish, proof of stake, proof of work, consensus mechanisms, and the list goes on. That's just right off the top of the dome. So the fact that we can still have these really elegant experiences in the early days, the game has just started, in Web3 makes me very excited about the future. I'm gonna get there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for giving us your time. I mean, Shubham, Vish, and as well as Patrick. I think the four of you were amazing panelists. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll be back in 15 minutes. We just have to clear out the stage a little bit. We've got a keynote time coming up next.